Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is, oh gosh, what is today? Sunday, right? Oh
17.
my God, we were just talking about time and bodies and not being where we think we are and all kinds of stuff. No wonder I don't know what day it is. Sunday, November the 17th, 2019. And my gal pal posse. Hey guys, Lisa, Flamino Rush, and BZ Vigor. And I really like this one that you came up with, BZ. We're going to feel your body trusting and surrendering to your soul. I like it because I was sharing with you guys that it's really just been since I met Lisa that I even attempted to communicate with my body, much less feel it. I was always trying, apparently, to get out of my body because I was in so much pain and, you know, all those kind of things that happen, right? And I wasn't engaging with my body at all, really. And I think it showed, you know. So now this is another level. I mean, no wonder my body freaks out sometimes with these energies, you know? Well, oh my gosh, you guys are saying nothing. You're killing me. You're killing me. Save me. No, seriously. So I don't have a lot of experience with this one. You two got more going on in this department. Share some wisdom.
I've got lots of shares, but Lisa, it feels like you want to jump in. Do you?
Oh, okay. Well, I must say that a cornerstone of my own healing has been getting in touch with my body. And for me, I realized that my body has an innate wisdom that I was not availing myself of. And that was doing me a tremendous disservice.
And perhaps sometimes not willing to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the reason I bring up, not just for you, that you don't corner the market on that. There's lots of people vying for cornering the market on that. But this is part of the way that this came in is, you know, because we've all been very well trained that, you know, power outside of ourselves. So go to an expert, go to the guru, go to the teacher, go to the, you know, the doctor, all, you know, they got the alphabet soup after their name, the accreditation, and, you know, hey, if they don't have accreditation, then they don't know what they're doing. And so you got to find somebody else to trust, kind of thing. And part of what was flowing with that is you just said, Lisa, that, you know, your body has this innate wisdom. Yes, it does. And Bruce Lipton talks about a whole community of all the cells, the trillions of cells within your body, and how there are communities, and there is all sorts of communication going on. And in that whole, it was a conversation I was having, you know, I was doing something at work that I could, there was nobody else around, so I was having a conversation with me out loud as I was doing what I was doing at work. And I laughed. I said, you know, I was noticing more and more things going on within my body. And as it relates to, well, like, for example, right here, I'm doing something at work. My body is physically doing something. And other aspects of my body were having an out loud, in-depth conversation complete with all sorts of sensory things going on with, in theory, something that wasn't actually there. Yet I could still do what I was doing, be standing up, eyes wide open, don't need to be meditating, you know, the correct way, and sitting in a chair, eyes closed, quiet, with gongs playing or whatever. And so I chuckled because I said, you know, I'm noticing that there are more and more levels or more and more cool new things, or I think part of what it was, I was kidding, but not that, ideas that you come up with that I should try on, and you forget to tell me that we're trying it on. And in that whole thing is the trusting that, so I would then say, well, I don't know how to do it, or how do I do that? And that's where this all came, is feeling your body, trusting, and communicating with your soul as it moves to this. So if I'm, if I'm going to separate myself out, so I, me, the thinking part, the ego mind, whatever, however you want to describe it, when I'm excited to do different things, learn different things, try different things, I don't need the whole manual. I don't just a hint. I don't even need that. But it was trusting that. So the idea, the thought, the invitation, the impetus, however we want to say it, would come along, and in the nanosecond that might have been formulating, okay, well, how do I do that? Or, my body was already going, hey, as if to say, my soul said, well, we're going to fly now. And I'm be like, but, and, and I'm already flying, kind of a thing. So in that, then this was a whole discussion about, as Lisa talked about, that innate wisdom that's there. And I don't mean to separate it out on a linear thing, but yes, but, just our body feels good or feels bad, our body wants this food or doesn't want this food, our body wants more sun or more air, or these kinds of things. And if we listen to that, tune into that, and we have different things that we're feeling as a complaint, right, we can shift it, we can change it, that kind of. So yes, that's on one level. And what I was talking about in this whole conversation, which is what had me come, with the idea to play with it, is that right now because people talk about, well, I want my superpowers, or how do I do this, or whatever it is, and I don't know how to do it, but it's all, it's, your body is the manual, and the expert and the teacher and all that kind of stuff, and so is your soul, and hey, they're all you. So you're hanging out with all of it right then and there. And it's maybe the title should be a little bit different, but is all of you trusting as you watch and notice your body. There goes some animal, just got eaten alive. It was a stuffed animal.
Oh, it was. Okay, I thought, okay, because, well,
actual animals were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah, it was the llama that's being rearranged.
I see. Oh, okay.
He doesn't do it very often, so.
For that, Lisa.
Yeah, it's a rare occurrence, so I was curious.
Well, here's, and I rightfully so, my body does not trust me, at least not yet. Because I really only started recently listening to it, and sometimes I apparently lie to it. So it just doesn't trust me right now. The little me. I'm sure that it trusts the big me. Mm-hmm. But it really doesn't trust the little me quite yet. And like I said, I really don't blame it. It's got loads of reasons not to.
When you said you lie to it, is because you're not trusting the other way around?
No, when I say I lie to it, I'm talking about caring for it.
Oh.
Okay, caring for it. And I'm speaking specifically in regards to my water intake because my body has had a lot of trouble with me in regards to that. And that's why I say, even though, because I've had times where I'm not having enough water and my body rebels and says, now look here, you know the deal.
We talked about
You, of all people, know the deal. And, so, and what I mean by that is that, I've seen my ankles swell more than they should if I have missed a little bit of water, intake. And it's immediate. That's why I said, because I promised I would take care of it. See, it's how it so kindly waited for me because, and I thank it every morning and every night for that because of the torture that it has endured. And so, again, I'm really just developing an actual cognizant, and I want to be very clear about that, a cognizant, engaging relationship with my body, because I didn't have that before at all. It was just something that I had to endure while I was here, before. And I never thought to speak to my body, to thank it, to engage with it in the way that I am now. And I don't do it as often as I think that it would like. I, like you said, BZ, you describe being at work and doing other things all while having this conversation, and that sort of thing. And that's just not what I've ever done. That's it is a habit that I am in the midst of reconditioning myself to. And it's a joyful habit. It's just not one that I've made into a good enough habit yet for me to suit me and to suit my body, I think, too. So I mean, that's what I was sharing with you in regards to that. So I think that's why I know that my body will trust my soul. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be here.
Right.
After everything that I've done
to bring forward, yeah.
Right. And that's important to bring forward. You're right, because obviously it trusts the larger me, and obviously the larger me apparently has the little me in hand, or again, I wouldn't be here.
So when we talk about feel your body, it's in a cognizing way. So it isn't just feeling like your body, like I can feel the heartbeat, or I can feel the heartbeat in my feet, right? Like right now I can feel my heartbeat in my feet, or I can feel my body, the wind on my face, or those kinds of things. It's I mean, we can go all sorts of places, but the way that this came in the conversation was so many people say, well, I wish there was somebody right near me, or I wish there were directions or a manual. I wish there were all these kind of things. And if you can notice that you can feel your body, trusting your soul and trusting the things that are flowing and trusting the changes in the energies, right? And feel how your body is moving through. And yes, even it may be, off the charts, and there are parts of your body that are uncomfortable with that, right? But I guess part of what was exciting and expansive to me was it's another way to expand the connection, to expand the dialogue, to expand that flow, that there is, it's all of you, and you all have got it all going on, right here, and there You could say that there's different rules and stuff. And if you get freaked out, or if you get nervous, or if you get, well, I'd like to do that, but I have no clue how to do that, right? You can stop just for a moment when you're thinking about this, pick anything that we've talked about, and feel your body. As if you were standing right next to Sheila, and I'm looking at Sheila, and she's, well, hey, there's no big deal. Or I can feel her being calm or confident, or I can feel her freaking out, right? Whatever it is, right? I can sense that. So it's the same kind of thing, except where you go, there you are. So it's easy. You don't have to worry about geographic distances or any of those kinds of things. So it's another one of those tools. And once you notice that you have that, and can develop that, noticing can develop that, conversation can develop that connection, that connectivity, that coherence with it, which is really what we're talking about. Then you might say, well, I'm not certain about that. You go first. Or I'm not going to try that. You try that, kind of a thing. Or, wow, what was it like? Or what are you seeing? What, do you hear something? Kind of a thing. So we're not alone the way that we think we are, and we can. So that's kind of the helping. Then the other thing is in the flip side of that is that you can actually feel the coherence of your body and your soul. Mm-hmm. And it may sound like an odd thing, but you're the one who's perfectly not only welcome but immeasurably loved at the party, and you're standing over here kind of apart going. So it's kind of like feel your body trusting your soul, and through that but I don't know, maybe the title is not wrong, but it was the best way I could describe this whole conversation about that. Does that make sense? There's another level, another way to notice that it's already going on. How can you get in on that, be part of that, play in that? And then all the delicious things that will unfold and can be imparted to you that you can, well, it's another, I think facet may be the right word, a facet of your best friend, where you're, instead of jumping off a diving board, you're trying different things here. This all of you is now coming into all of you and connecting in different ways.
Yeah, I like that you're talking about connecting, because for me, I've been at that a minute longer. I've been connecting with my body. And the one thing that I'm noticing is it is really through my body that I am also getting data. And this data is super important in my connectivity to all things. And so, I'm just really noticing, first of all, my own body, right? Like you were saying, how it feels and what's going on. But there's also a part where my body can feel all of it. My body can actually, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost as though, I guess really my body is a very fine-tuned frequency interpreter. So the more in tune I am with my body, the more access I have to all that it has access to, and it's everything. So there's something to really connecting with your body for just your own experience. But also now I'm using my body to explore all of the experiences. Like I know that my body is connected, this physical body is connected to all the physical bodies that my soul is interacting with on all the levels of me. And so it's to that deep inward connection that I have connection and access to the body, if you will, meaning
Right.
the physical realm at large. So it's really my gateway to the all that is, not only in the physical, you know, here in the physical, and it's just this, it's this most magical portal gateway that really I'm just now exploring. And I feel like I could spend a million, okay, so I have spent a million lifetimes exploring and I still feel really excited about the concept of exploring all that is me.
Well, I love the way you put all of that right there, Lisa, because it really, really, really pulled it in for me. I've used that terminology before in that I feel our physicality, our physical bodies are the lensing mechanisms. And what you just spoke on there is exactly illustrates that perfectly. And for me, again, because I hadn't even tried to develop that sort of conversation or connection with my body, I'm in that stages there. But I also, when you were speaking earlier, BZ, I had something come in for me that I was making it a little more difficult than I had to. And that this is one of those things now this is in regards to my body trusting the larger part of me, not the little me that kind of has ruled the roost up until now where the body is concerned. But my body does trust that larger part of me, and it has always been seamless. And I was trying to make it more difficult just now, earlier, when I was like, okay, well, I've been so mean to my body, and maybe my body doesn't trust my soul, but that's not what I got. You're making it more difficult than it is. The body does trust the higher, more expansive portion, the soul at the largest level. It's the little me that the body doesn't trust. And
Yeah, that's that's in essence the title. Can be, it's interesting in what Lisa just was talking about and what I had talking about when you talk. It's you've each of us has kind of talked about the three different sides at least of this whole thing. So are you the one feeling? Can you notice yourself feeling your body trusting your soul? So it's almost like, and this is not because it's not hierarchical, but on levels of the diameter of your aperture of that you're looking in consciousness and stuff. So if you have a narrower focus and you're not sure a body, you just walk around and that's right there. So now you feel your body. Not only do you just feel the appendages and all that kind of stuff, but feel your body feeling and trusting and knowing and communicating and playing and engaging and going off on all these expansive experiences. You feeling your body do that with your soul. And then you realize, well, there's another triad there, isn't there?
There you go.
So on one level, if you have a tight focus on that, just that you can feel the innateness that Lisa talked about before, and what you just mentioned, Sheila, is that, oh yeah, okay, if I stop parsing it out, I can start to feel that the body. So if that's the case, then you're part of this loop, so that that means that you can start to feel that. And you can start to be connected with that. So that's just one level. Then you widen the aperture a little bit more, and you're getting to Lisa's was wider and more expansive around it, but you're starting to get to the I guess it's the inner edge of what Lisa was talking about, where you've already noticing parts of your body, and then it's connected to all of you. Now you're starting to realize that not only that, but you can use it as a translator, a almost like an ambassador, as you're connecting with other bodies, other beings that you're connected with, other situations, or right places where they can translate. Your body can say, well, hey, this is going on, or I noticed this, or this being communicates this way, so the custom is this, whatever it is. So it's like having your own delegation, as it were, that can help you read the waters of wherever you are and what's going on.
Right.
And then go a little bit wider aperture is where there is the playing and the knowing, where this triad is all in sync, so information may flow all the way up or all the way down. That's not accurate because there is no up and down, but in that level, or from, let's say, if the body's kind of in between, the information flows back and forth. So the whole sensory array is online for all of those facets, which are you. And now it's almost like if you envision, if you're watching a video, right, and there's three beings there, and one's in a chair and they're talking to the headset, or they're switch on the gear, whatever. So everybody's piloting the ship, or the whole fleet of dragons, or whatever it is, and you're all communicating with all that, because you're going to go in and do this magical adventure. Oh, we're coming up to the the Chartreuse planet, and it's time to do this, that, that thing. We have this ability. So no matter where you are with your focus and your aperture, and you're consciously playing with these kinds of things, whether it's just, well, I'd love to have superpowers, or it feels like something's different and something's going on, but I don't see it yet, or wow, I'm really learning to walk into a room or a situation or a new place, to the forest, and feel all that kind of things. Or hey, let's actively play this, or we got a nudge, we're going to go do these missions, or whatever it is. So all of it works no matter where you are, because you're always bringing you with you. And there's so many different levels, and now the energy is really running, so many different levels that you can play with all of this. This gets into then we were going to talk about, but right now with the, people say, well, there's a lot of big energies and there's changing, and this is a good tool to help you realize that it isn't that the energies are that big per se, they just are. And because of the distortions being removed, being allowed to be let go of, released, being integrated, being sanded off, chipped off, sawzalled off, you're there, that this where the distortion meets the band of frequency of the energies, that's where the discomfort often lies, because there is not that. And this is another tool, another loving embrace, another best friend component that can help you move through all of that into just way beyond that. You can go from thinking, oh, well, I got a killer of a headache, or I got this or got that, to yes, I have that, and I can process all that because there's distortion there, and that's great. So it's polishing up, right, all that stuff. But that doesn't need to be my focus, because now I realize, oh, that's just made the projector room bigger, or the different things, and so I can do more and more stuff. I can be more and more things and play, and I realize that I am the expert. For me, I can If one aspect, one part of me is not knowing that, then I can communicate. But I think, like you said, Sheila, it's oftentimes it doesn't occur to people that, it's all right there.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Some of what we're talking about here, for me, I'm very clear now that some of it I was just making too complicated, and it's something that I have always done very seamlessly. Some of it, but not the. And what I mean is my body actually trusting my soul. Like I said, I really don't think that I would still be here on the planet at all
Right.
if my body didn't trust my soul after what I've put my body through.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very seamless type thing for me. I'm now noticing. And it's that other part, it's that communication part, um, whether it just never occurred to me, it was certainly nothing that I'd ever heard of until Lisa came along. And so I think we were having a conversation off camera in regards to all the really cool things that we will all be learning, that none of us, I don't care who it is on the planet, are really doing right now. Even all those folks with the alphabet letters after their names, like you said, we are the expert on us. And there's just, it puts me in mind of what happened with my health. Even it was not all those experts were actually killing me, to be honest, and I was allowing it. I'm not going to put it on them because I was allowing it. And at some point, something, my soul, my body, some part clicked over and said, okay, wait a minute, hold it. And I began doing some looking into things for myself. So who's to say what that is exactly? But you're right. I mean, I'm just saying these really cool things about caring for ourselves in ways that I hadn't ever even heard of before. And the communication, which anybody that knows me knows I got a thing about being transparent, being open, being honest, and communicating how we feel about everything is so important, because at least for me, that's the way I look at it. And here I was not communicating with the most important part of me. So it's just not something that I ever had in my field before. And there's a lot to discover there, actually.
Right?
Yes, so much. And I was just reminded again of the and I'm not going to say it's new, because I have no idea if it's new or not. I wasn't paying attention. That's one of the reasons I say focus and attention is everything, because I wasn't paying attention. So I don't know if it's new. But I got all kinds of what I'm calling new things taking place. But honestly, I'm not so sure that they're new.
That's right.
It's just, well, my aperture has widened and I'm paying closer attention to those things, and I'm not writing things off as nothing.
And there's less jackhammering and nudging and can you hear us now? Hello?
Well, now, wait a minute. Funny you should put it like that. Because, oh my gosh, BZ, get out of my head. I had this experience yesterday, and I was reminded of it again just now. That's why. And I had this I said it felt like Morse code. It's something going off in my ear that I had do. If I knew Morse code, I might know what's going on there. And then it just kind of, went away. But as I was speaking on this a minute ago about it came back, and I don't know that it's not always been there, right? I don't know that, but I'm paying closer attention, and the noticing that you brought into my life is a really big, important thing too. Like I said, and not writing things off as oh, well, I got a headache. You know, uh, I've described that before when I had that headache, and I noticed that it felt like there was things knitting together, and just the act of noticing things in my body actually makes it more prevalent. It's like and actually it's happening right now. It's like the body wakes up and goes, oh, she's noticing me. Oh, hold up, she's noticing me. And what wouldn't? I mean, how dare I not notice my own body? It sounds silly, and I'm making I'm making it a little more animated than perhaps it would be, but I really, that's the way it feels within me, when that kind of thing happens, that noticing.
Yeah, well, go back to the conversation we had a couple of days ago, where you both were trying on different things. We were having some live play, with breathe in your new incarnation, and it was like the things that you were noticing, the communication and the whole connection with something outside of yourself. And oftentimes, let's face it, people have treated their body as something completely foreign to them.
Yes.
Yes,
not only completely foreign, but something that has to be fixed by somebody else a lot of the times. Or, like I said, for me, I recognize pain now as a signal of something that is trying to get my attention. And it may not necessarily be what I think it is.
Right, and the level of denigration, that for many beings is taught, at your mother's milk, almost to say, the denigration that you give yourself and one's body. Everybody is always thinking, well, they're too thin, they're too fat, they're too tall, they're too short, they're too
or
this.
I hate the fact that my arm does this when I wave. Or yes, absolutely.
Well, the other thing is that it'd be one thing if you stayed on that one track and you weren't tall, but you want to be, and then you got tall, but it's again, it's a diversion, it's a distortion, it's a nanosecond replacement. That's the whole, on purpose, the reason it happens that way is it's just like, the media for years is, who you're supposed to hate, why the wars are, because, you had your, fast allies were where we didn't like those people. It's all the same kind of thing. It's always, if you keep the goalpost moving and there is no connecting here for you to feel into what's actually going on for you, the expert of all that is for you, then you can never get a handle on it. You can never notice it, feel it, talk to it, connect with it.
Right. That's what I was talking about. The fact that I just never, I never paid attention. And that is part and parcel in with the focus and attention and the distraction methodology that I clearly allowed. Yeah, I get it. I get that they did it, but I allowed it.
Yes, absolutely. You're 100% complicit. I've been nudged to see if you guys would like to play a little kind of a real-time live example with this. So what I'd like to see is each of you could think of a time whenever it was, this morning or a while ago, where you were experiencing, you might say, described as something new, like it may be a bit of a new superpower or a bit of a new, that has to do with your quantum multidimensional self. Can you just pull, keep it to yourself right now, but just pull that back in and pull it back in, like you're opening, you're stepping back into that energetic envelope of that, and you're right in there with it. So do you each have one? Okay. So go to that and pop open the envelope. Just open the envelope and step in, and it's not a matter of remembering. It's actually, it's happening right this moment, and you're feeling it, and you're experiencing it, and you're flowing with it, and you're noticing things. Like, oh, you're trying it, however it is that it was going on. Now, as you're doing that and you're breathing into that whole envelope, it's vivid and you can see it and you're there. Now I would ask that you feel your body and what kind of communication, could be with you, but certainly can you notice any plans, any things coming to fruition where your soul and your body are, and that now you can, because you're realizing it and noticing that you're in on the conversation. Okay, anybody want to share?
I'll go. I had a beautiful experience with desiring a purse. I had a moment where I was very frustrated with my current situation. And I said, I really need a new bag. And I mean, I almost ushered it forth like, I'm doing this now. Like I had played around with the idea, but I was really still liking my bag, but it wasn't serving me. And there was almost a moment where I observed myself make the decision and own it, feel really good about it. And I sort of called forth, if you will, my next bag, one that suits me, one that I don't wrestle with, because I was wrestling with my bag when I made the decision that was the last wrestle I would have. And I just sort of envisioned feeling really satisfied with my handbag. And I just let it go. And I didn't think about it again. And then all of a sudden, I was face to face with the most beautiful handbag. And I said, oh my goodness. I think I said, I don't think I've ever seen a prettier bag. The colors were just spectacular. They made my whole body sing. My whole heart just vibrated my entire body. And the next thing I knew it, the purse was mine. So I didn't actively do anything to manifest this bag. I just decided that I would manifest this bag. If you know what I mean? I didn't go shopping. I didn't go in search of. The bag just presented itself to me like, am I what you've been looking for? Like it just found me in the most magical ways. And I should let Sheila tell the story.
You think, well, you just so people can kind of see a descriptor of it, you sync the trinity of the whole material, for the materialization to occur, with your alignment with your soul and your body and you, and how you wanted to flow. And yeah. Because you were in flow, it got you out of it. Let's try to think of the right way to say this. So because you were in flow with that trinity, it removed you from the distortion of the mind, which was you know, I like it, but I don't. Then there's money things, and there's this things, and these things, and those things, and is this something right? Instead of us, no, it was just like a vision and envisioning, and in the space of the field of all potentiality, it popped up. I said, "Yeah, that's it. I want it." And you're one of the other thing is that you let it go. You didn't have to keep saying, "Well, remember now. Remember, we're gonna do this," you know, kind of a thing.
Right. I didn't do another thing about it.
And was there anything that you noticed in just in this moment, this energetic moment, that you noticed either in more detail or more connected, or was there anything?
Yeah, no, I like this exercise and going back to it, because then I can just see the fullness and the richness of it, that in the moment it was happening, I didn't see I mean, I knew it was quite magical. I knew that just because of how excited I was, I mean, it lit me up in such a way. It was satisfying. It was just really, really delicious. But in looking back on it now, I can see how it was just really seamless, and that I think that was always accessible to me. But now even more so, now, not only because I'm conscious of it, it's more accessible to me, but because of the energetics are just, there's just so much more here. But the fact that you pointed this out to me has made it even more strong. Like, it has just solidified it as my new way of moving throughout the world. So thank you for calling my attention to that. Because
Yeah. So if something in your lower mind may come and say, "Well, you know, I don't know how to do that, or I'm struggling with that, or money thing, or whatever," right? You know, some things that we talked about off
yes,
camera.
yes,
You can go, "Well, hey, hang on, I know how to do this," right? And again, as you describe it, you know, there are templates that you can just flip through, because there's now that muscle body memory of
yes,
how to do this, and helping you, you know, put that in the thing.
yes. That's, it's a powerful tool in the tool chest, but it has to come out of the tool chest.
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah. So I
It
love
helps.
that we talked about it, because now it's really ingrained what a powerful tool that is.
Yes.
And so I won't be as apt to forget it. So thank you for that.
Good.
Yeah. We are doing this now.
Yeah, we are doing this now. Well, the thing is for me that I'm not sure I understood what the game is. I'm just not sure that if I have had that, it's been something seamless that again I haven't paid enough attention to.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I am noticing a lot of different things about myself recently. And I don't know that really qualifies in what you were asking here, but again, funny that you brought it up in the way that you did about feeling that someone feels nervous or feels calm or whatever in their body. I have, and in terms of what would be considered superpowers, I have been having experiences where, and not being attached to the outcome of it, which is a big thing for me, of just feeling into, in situations like with readings, if I'm doing a reading, feeling into the energy of the being that asks for the reading, and just giving what it is that's coming up for me. And we actually discussed this off camera, because I've been doing it live. I'm getting immediate validation generally. There has been a few times where I knew that that I may not be speaking on the person who I'm reading, but that's someone in their field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was feeling back into that situation. And I still, I'm not sure if I noticed anything that would be even helpful for this conversation. You see what I mean? I've not paid.
Can I point it out?
Yeah.
Because your body's, but you're just thinking your body is just the one that has, 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Right.
You have your auric body, your ethereal body, your sensory array of your body, all that, it's all part of your body. So you say, well, you were doing the reading and you were feeling into, well, how do you do that? Doesn't your body do that? Doesn't
yes, it does.
Which is you do that?
Yes, my body does. Well, I don't know that it's my body that's feeling into it. I feel like, for me anyway, there's an agreement, because this just came up. There's some sort of an agreement where the body has agreed to reflect that feeling so that I know what's going on. But I don't, I really,
your clairaudience, however you could label it, but for me, it's just the easier way. It's you. It's your apparatus is reaching out and connecting and feeling into it.
right.
And I think that may be some of why it happens more seamlessly than you know, because you don't pay attention, because you're thinking, like over here in this example, well, your body didn't actually touch or was not standing next to something else we had a conversation about off camera, next to the person who was doing the reading. So that physical body couldn't have been doing that, right? But it's the other parts of your bodies that can do that. It's remote. It's remote. If you were standing in front of someone, or they were sitting at a table across from you, right? Your physical body would be reading and picking up on and tuning into all that kind of, as well as all other areas of your body that you're doing remotely.
Right. No, I know. I feel what you're saying, and I'm not. I think there's something that's not connecting for me in that, and I'm not quite sure what it is or why. Because I do feel like it's a seamless thing for me, but on the other hand, that's what I mean. I don't pay close enough attention to know when it's happening or whatever. You know what I mean? And that means the propensity to dismiss or not pay attention is there because of that. If that make any sense?
Yeah. Well, that's why I was when we were speaking about the validation, and because it's when you can start to notice that, you actually get the telemetry of all of your bodies is giving you things, and in addition to what someone else may be giving you, right? But you can feel a sensation, you can feel a physical sensation, you can feel an energetic sensation, you can feel an emotional sensation, you can feel electromagnetic, right? All of these different things is your body, which is not just the one just sitting in the chair.
Okay, so I have a question for the two of you then. What sort of advice? How do you, and that's why I'm saying advice, because I would like to, and I suspect that I will find, as I have with a few other things that the two of you have shared with me, is that it's like, BZ, you used to say once before about how it's so right there for you that you have to back engineer or step back into it in order to try to. And so I suspect that on some level that may be what is happening for me. like I said, there's something up here that's making too much out of it or whatever.
Right.
But I think there's a reason for that too. And that's why I'm asking if the two of you, and I'll let you guys choose who goes first, would share if there's anything you can share in regards to how to pay attention to not just the physical body, because I'm really focused on that. Maybe some of those what folks would consider more intangible, like you said, BZ, the other bodies, the more subtle. We all know Sheila has problems with subtle. So could you share, and I'll let you guys decide who goes first.
Sure, I'm happy to share. I don't care who goes first. I just want to add one thing before we do that, and that is that I was nudged to Mark that this is a really good reason to at least play this little exercise, because it's very helpful for people to start, and even your request to start to notice and avail themselves of this, because since the cognitive awareness or memory of it isn't strong with some people, or that strong with some people, that there's that trusting thing. Oh, I don't know how to do it, or I wish I could do that. Wouldn't that be great? And someone else can be, connected with that person, even just a short video or whatever next to them, and go, well, wait a minute, you just did this, that, and the other thing. But they can't see it. They can't feel it. They can't realize it. So this is kind of a way to snapshot it out so that people can see. I just was nudged to put that in there. This is a good way, regardless of whatever it is, it helps reflect it back, so you can go, oh, wow, wait a minute, that's what I'm doing. Or,
well, yeah, because that's actually happened with me with the two of you. It's like, okay, wait a minute, I was doing that. Yeah. But I didn't pay attention and I didn't quite grok it. So, yeah, I like that you put that in there. Thank you for that.
Lisa, you want to go first?
Okay, well, what's coming to me is, I was just saying this to somebody. My advice is to spend time getting to know your body and your different, how your body reacts. Like I said, to find out what a yes and a no means. Because there's certain specific tells that everybody's going to have. There's just a way for me, like I have a truth meter. Like if it's my truth, if it's for me, if it rings, if it feels right, and it is just a subtlety. But what I've noticed is I use my hindsight. So I look at the data behind me and I'll parcel through and I'll say, oh, so, I felt like this when this happened, and I'll notice a pattern developing. And so I can trust my body now because I've learned through parceling through the data, the hindsight stuff, that I always knew when, like, I'll say, oh, in my gut I knew, or there's some kind of trigger for each one of us where your body does a specific thing, like for me, sometimes it's right in the middle of me, like in my power center, and it just goes, and that's kind of that's not for me sensation. And by tuning in to me, and really knowing me really well, I have been able to connect with that soul portion of me that will immediately give me the feedback that I need in every moment of now. And so I try to let that be my tell. So I feel my way through the situation now. you know, and in the beginning, I just had to notice things like how I was feeling, because for a long time, I couldn't even tell you how I was feeling. I was so disassociated from my body and all of that. But by putting it together now, the data informs me of so much more. And then the more that I pay attention to that data, the more I see it's connected to other data. And just the more that you pay attention and notice, the more there is to notice. You know what I mean? It's just an endless array that I was just letting pass me by, you know, without paying any attention to it. So I don't know if that was helpful at all.
Oh, no, yes, it was.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that's really more about the physical body too. And is it that all of your subtle bodies affect your physical body? And
I guess, yes, and you have to take notice of that. Make the correlation. Like I use the purse example because, or even like the missing keys story. I don't know. There's something where I'm called to it. Like I paid attention to the fact this time that I knew I was creating, right? Like I knew I was creating, because I guess maybe a part of me was preparing me for this conversation. I don't know, but there was a little something that I took note of, because I can put myself in that position. Like I was exiting the car. I know exactly what I was doing when it came to me. And it was a rather whole package. And all I did was notice it, right? But yeah, it's connected to my physical body. I am noticing that the more I notice about my physical body, it is how I'm connected to everything else. And I know that sounds crazy, and I didn't want to think that was so, but actually it really is. It just is. And when you think about your body being a hologram, that makes perfect sense then. And again, I've lost what I was saying.
well,
There's some really huge energies that are just
well, with the body being the lensing mechanism, what you're saying makes perfect sense to me. So I'm sorry you lost the plot, but I know right where you were.
That's good. I'm glad it was helpful.
Yes, it was. Okay, bees, what you got?
Well, one of the things that I just wanted to clarify, you said, what's the tell? So back at reconstruct, what's your tell for something the way you just clarified with Sheila? So I got to look at this. Are you looking for my tell of different, not just the physical body?
Yes, I'm looking for, yes, because now Lisa has come to the conclusion that a lot of it comes through her physical.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is that the same for you? I mean, I know that they are that, you know, because you spoke on the subtle bodies, the other bodies. And so are they all focused through this lensing mechanism? Because there's, hey, that
I wouldn't say they're well, a whole lot of stuff was wanting to back up. Just if you can encapsulate just the part around the tell, because then I'll know which way to go with that. So there's something that you're looking for in particular is the tell of the subtle, you're calling the subtle bodies. Is that
the subtle bodies? Yeah. How I don't know. I guess I was wondering if there is more than just the physical tells. If there's,
I mean, like your hand gets hot or something, and that.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm feeling that there's, like, because you were discussing before and how there's all these different bodies. I know there's the emotional body, there's the etheric body, there's all of these different bodies that we that just are us, right? They're on all these different levels. And I've suspected, again, for my own purposes, feeling like the physical body is the lensing mechanism for all the experiences. So I was wondering if there are other tells besides what goes on in the body that you've noticed that and maybe I've lost the plot now.
Okay, well, let me just jump in here with what I've got.
You guys are killing me. I got a feeling this is what I'm going to have to go back and watch.
If there was a certain thing that you were looking for, kind of as to use my tell as a metaphor for you, that'd be one thing. So one of the first ways I would start to answer that.
Well, yes, there's that. Yes, of course. Of course, I'm looking for examples. And
yeah. So one of the first ways I would answer that is if you pictured in a television truck comes to mind, but you could do it on a mixing board, big sound mixing board. I don't know if anybody's seen it. There are big boards. There's lots of millions of different levels and layers and buttons and slides. And in the truck, if you go do a remote, say you're watching the Kentucky Derby on television, there's the big truck, and you have all the camera feeds come into it, and then the producer and director sitting there, and they can play with all the different things. They can call it, they can see all of the wall of monitors, and they can bring everything in there. So I'm using that as kind of a linear pictorial of my sensor array board. So I don't hold it that the physical body lenses anything. It's part of it's on the board. It's got a slider on the board, let's say. So do all the other bodies. And there may be sometimes when if you're moving something or data comes in, right, it may affect a couple of the sliders, like the lighting and the hearing, or the physical body, or the video projector in the head, which is not in the actual physical body, sort of thing, right? It's changing the thing. So that data is coming in and it's correlating simultaneously, or it may start a feed generation, which may pick up other things as it
How are you receiving that, though? That is my question, because I hear what you're saying, but how does that come in for you then? I get that. I mean, I get the metaphor that you're using with the truck and the soundboard, but how?
Part of the way that I would answer it comes to me, it is. I'm just trying to create a visual, but I do have an actual array that it comes in. All the data comes in. The conduits on the array board, for lack of a better word, come in, and it does that. So I may clairvoyantly hear something. I may hear it from an auditory canal at the same time, as slightly different. So maybe on a slightly varied frequency, or like, if someone's talking and you hear them walking away from you and walking towards you, it's your ears, it's their vocal cords, and the cadence of their voice is still the same, but you can tell directionally which way they make it. There's a difference. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So with my non-physical ears hearing something come in, and then I can pick it up in the physical, right? So that's triangulating. So when you say how, well, it comes through each of those different senses, some in a singular way, some in multi-sensor way, they picking them up at the exact moment, or one may pick something up. It happens in different ways, but one may pick one of my senses on one of my bodies, may pick something up, like a flash may come in my physical. What was that? So that may be on that instance how that came in. And then as I read the waters on that, as I tune into that, as I am using my sensory array on that, I may get other physical areas, but oftentimes I get a whole range of things. So
Yeah, you've said things like the, video.
yeah.
You got the video playing, and then you also talked about the clairvoyance.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So one of the things that for me that I've done is it's funny because I wouldn't say that I'm all that great at playing real world instruments, although it's some various times in this lifetime I have been, but I can play my sensory array very well. So I can, let's say there's an instance of something, right?
Mhm.
And however it starts, it could be on one, for lack of a better word, one channel, right? Or a couple a couple components may pick it up. My eyesight might pick it up, my eyesight might pick it up, right? And my spidey sense may pick it up, right? So that's on three different, very distinct, very different levels, way that they read. And so I've gotten intentionally, consciously good at reading with and playing with, harmonizing with, coming into syncopation with, coming into coherence, really is the best way, with my sensory array to pick all that up. So just like I described how you can I take raw files for photographs, and it has all of the data in. So I have mine set so that it will capture all the data from all different things, and then I may just focus only on one or the other, depending on what it is. Especially since this is one of the things that I've trained. I don't know if this is helping you, but if I'm I'm in the instance where, well, you don't understand, I have to go to work. Yeah, okay, well, here I am doing this thing at work, being work thing, paying attention, and actually giving value for what I was hired to do, yes. And something comes in. It may have been triggered by the work thing. It may have been just in the same space of time, right? However it is. But my sensory, to describe it that, because that's how it comes in. You asked how, so this is the how for me. The sensory array is doing all the work stuff. So the mental body, all the work, everything is there. And at the same time, with no distraction, no distortion, no dropping the balls, whatever euphemism you want to use, it can pick up something else at the same time. Or as often happens is that because I can play it that way, I don't know if that's the right description, more of what's there can now be seen or experienced. Because we're not cardboard cutouts, we're not one dimensional, there's a whole lot of, just take this as an example, there's a whole lot of stuff, pretty crowded in these rooms around here, so there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on, right? And we may only notice and allow ourselves to pick up on what we're actually perceiving. We are the raw file. So let's not make no mistake about it. We're perceiving it all. Sorry, that's the way it is. You're perceiving it all. Whether you're noticing it or not is an entirely different thing.
Yes.
Right. No, it makes perfect sense. And it is exactly as I suspected, in that a lot of what you were describing there are things that I actually not only do, but am pretty good at. So I've used words like hyper aware in regards to myself. the aperture is pretty wide, and then I can walk back through it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the words for that, and my focus and attention hasn't been where the little me might like for it to have been, but I think on a more expanded level, it's been exactly where it's supposed to be, because like you said, it's all perceiving all of it. Some of what you all are sharing, I'm finding now, and it's happening more quickly for me, is that it's not that I wasn't doing it. I've been doing it all along, and I didn't recognize it as such.
Right.
And
starting to recognize, starting to notice, it's starting to bring it. Now you have in essence, it's not really true, but it feels like it. You have more data to work with. You have more notes that you can play. You got more colors in your paint box, right? However you want to say it, and all of those. And now you can really play with things, and you can play with things as you're doing one thing over that work thing or whatever it is over here, and do and they're not mutually exclusive of each other. Because
exactly.
wherever you go, there you are.
Well, and I think I said this earlier too, off camera, is that by the noticing and the engaging, because that's the different thing. Okay, so having it be there is one thing, but it's the noticing and then engaging that actually, and what I mean by engaging, because I just heard somebody say, well, what exactly are you talking about? Engaging in that play that you were just speaking on, VZ, that I've also called it experimentation, exploration. Remember, I'm the gal that said I don't belong here because I jumped straight to the fantastical. So playing with that sort of thing, it just, I don't know, it's making.
Well, playing too is a good way that there's no attachment.
Right.
You don't have to worry about creating a painting because, well, maybe you don't have enough canvases, or they're too expensive, or you don't want to get it wrong, and then you've ruined it. It's been, all that shit doesn't even show up. It's just
No,
exactly. Not even there when you're playing with something. It's all. Ever watched a little kid play?
Yeah.
Right, and they're just diving in, and they're just, or an Australian Shepherd play, like he's going for a little walk from here to the chickens, and he's doing cartwheels, and people go, "What are you doing?" I said, "He's having fun." Why? Well, because this was a really good time to have fun. So
yeah, why not? Well,
he's noticing everything else. I mean, something can move, and he'd turn, and we all have that capacity. And it's so interesting because I've heard two people, said, "Well, I don't have time for that because I have to work," and someone else said, "Well, that's a matter of perspective." So that it's not happening. That's not happening for me. Is the gist of what they said.
Well, see that I will say that you both have heard me say those very same words, and I come to find out that that was not so.
Right.
So,
that's what I'm saying. It's all there, and now because you are running the show, not you running the show, and your body and bodies got it. They're trusting, right? Isn't this what? Hey, look at that. That's the title. Trusting and surrendering to the whole thing. And when one doesn't do that because they know better, or but this, or well, you don't understand, or whatever it is, those are distortions on that which is the truth of who you are.
there's some huge energies running through my body right now. I am freezing. Wow, this has really been an enlightening conversation for me, in regards to, well, just all of it. And I'm amazed at how quickly for this one that I actually saw the sort some of the seamless things that because I heard it in my head that I was making it too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, that intellectual portion, I guess, that wanted to step out of it and see.
Well, even in the little play, the example playing that we did, you tried to say, well, I didn't give you, but yet in your own words, when you were describing it, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, you just said, you do this a lot, so.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So it is going on, and that's why I had asked you off camera. I forgot how I phrased it, but something about, because you were jazzed about word validation, and I'm saying, did you reckon? So that's what I was talking about, is that you're noticing that it's not that validation is good or bad, it has nothing to do with it, but it's only in as much as if that's the only time you can say, oh, I'm doing good because so-and-so said I was doing.
Oh yeah, no, I really have that. That is, you're right. That is something that I noticed about myself. I'm not, I recognize that as an attachment that I had to being right about whatever. You know what I mean? I don't have to be right now. For one thing, I really feel like, and this is in specific to what we were speaking on with my readings. I'm not attached to whether or not what I'm saying they know or feel or recognize or acknowledge, because I'm also very well aware, because I've done it, to not recognize when something's said to me, hello, uh, as it being a true thing for me,
Right.
even though everybody in the room could say, well, are you sure about that, Sheila? Because, gee willies, it sure seems like you got that going on. And I'm sitting there going, no.
Yeah, like the being connected, or
yes, and that's exactly what I'm referring to.
She's still animated, so yes, she is.
So yeah, but I mean, this one was one that I saw almost immediately. So there's been a whole lot of
and now you can see where I was talking about the different apertures that you can meet with, play with, interact with, come into coherence with, and really beef up the toy box, the toolbox, however you want to, and you can hold it in all those ways, right? Depending on your aperture. So you can go from a narrow aperture to a wide aperture in a nanosecond, and now start to play an experience. If there's a solution you want, or a new thing, or a problem, or a creativity, or whatever, right? This is one of the ways that you can play with that, because you are this is something that's occurring all the time, and on your sensory array will pick it up. You are calling all these different things to you already. That's one of the things that you're already calling to, because when your brain goes, hey, I wish I had that. Well, you've already been right, like the brain, the linear ego mind is the very last to know. Right?
Yeah.
So when it comes like that, it's you've already been playing with it and creating it and orchestrating it and co-creating and all that kind of stuff, and when you notice, then you can see it coming a mile off. You can see it in its nothingness and then come forward. And that's how you build the new earth. That's how you build these systems, these new things, whatever it is. And you can also, when you play with that, you can feel that it really is apt to describe that you don't want to rework something or reconfigure something because it's of a different frequency. If you're going to reconfigure the frequency, which is in essence building something brand new, right? Then you can have, because the old thing has a more constricted, frequency to it, and isn't porous enough, doesn't have the flex and the flow, right? The woof and the weave of that won't be able to expand because there was a constriction in the construct that you created with one of your bodies, what happened to be the mental body, that locked in the parameters of what it was. Does that make sense? I mean, it's, I'm talking about energy, but it's really it's very concrete, that amorphous thing called energetic frequency is very concrete when we attack it with different things like our mental body.
Yeah. With those attachments and things like that. That can cause lots of issues. Well, speaking as one who knows. I'm sorry. That just, it was what it was.
So I just had, you can use this, and again, whether you start with a narrow aperture or not, and bring it out as a way to play co-creatively with other people and to do things with, whether it's just imagineering it or actually materializing it, various different levels of it.
Well, that's something that you've actually done, isn't it, Lisa? Because now in terms of the purse, I don't think that was just too delicious and unexpected on all the levels as far as I'm concerned, but playing with different things in like that's something that you've actually got some like I mean, you got some pretty good chops in that. Right? I mean,
Yeah,
haven't
really
you?
fun. It's really fun. It's surprising. Okay, so I started noticing, right? And then I started noticing being noticed. So when you start to interact, then surprising, really exciting things can happen.
Well, yeah, because you've given an invitation, haven't you? And
Yeah.
you've given a reciprocal flow to things, and said, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is, and on whatever body, level. And the really cool thing that's happening right this moment in all sorts of ways, but is that your multidimensionality is showing. And so you may have it on one level, and then you start to see that it's showing up, I'm going to use just play with this. So I was daydreaming. I had a dream about that. And then I was daydreaming about that. And then I saw it in this magazine or coloring book, and then someone was talking about that. So now I've labeled different on your sensory array, right? Different places, different hows, right? That information be coming in. And when you notice that and think about it, then you can go like the bag, yes, right? And that's what we are being asked to do by who, you may ask? Well, you.
Mm-hmm.
To do this now, because this is what we're stepping into. And so when you're noticing, and just I was going back to the picture of my sensory array, So when I'm actively creating or experiencing, I could say, you know, the board could be lit up. There could be lots of stuff. When it's quiet, you know, the levels are just resting. One might say, well, you're not noticing. And that's a different thing. Then it's kind of locked because it's not alive anymore. That which is the essence. But what I'm talking about, where it's just receptive and there, but it's not engaged, to use your word, Sheila, right? Then it's in the point where it's no thingness, because we haven't popped it into a thing yet.
The words I heard in my head while you were describing that was quantum flux. I don't know why that was, but
it's kind of outside of the space and time. It's no thingness, so it's no time. It's still a point. It's 0 point. There's, you know, lots of different ways you can hold it, and it's the flux. So it's everything and nothing, because nothing is popped out at that moment. And so you can create everything and nothing, or all things, or just this thing, or a few of these things. You choose. It's creator being's choice at that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, that is always available to you. You know, it's always within your ability to perceive and then play with. But the distortions, you know, because think about diving into a giant mud puddle. I mean, it's big enough to hold you and it's fathoms deep, right? It's kind of muddy in there. And you know, some is like loopy, soupy mud, and some is a little more viscous, and some is this kind of watery, browny, right? And so we're swimming back out of that, coming to find that it isn't just like, you know, a road with a mud puddle that we dove into for some strange reason. We're on the field of no thing or all things or possibility, or that quantum soup, quantum flux, quantum soup, quantum everything space that doesn't have anything in it. And we're completely in tune with that no thingness. So we're at rest, we're at peace, we're at complete balance, we're in complete flow with doing, being, sensing, feeling no thingness. And then we have an in-breath and we go, oh yeah, and you know, whatever it is. And that's a constant thing. What's happened is that in the mud puddle, you know, we've limited ourselves. We've had perceptions of limits put on us in various ways, and we kept perpetuating that. And right now it's almost like a pretty funny picture. It's almost like we keep cleaning the mud puddle. It's all clean water, all the sediment is done, it's crystal clear, it's the most gorgeous view of the field of all possibilities. And then we keep dumping mud back in the puddle because, I don't know, we think we don't know how to do this, or we think that's the way it's supposed to be, or there's, you know, but we're the ones in a lot of instances, okay, all instances, who are or putting the mud back in the mud puddle, to use that metaphor.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't sugarcoat anything, BZ. Wow, this has really been a good one, y'all.
I know it.
Don't ask me how to come up with something at this moment. I have the feeling that there's some integration for me in regards to some of it, because it's like I was slipping in and out. I don't know how to explain that either. So it feels kind of funny to say that. It's like I heard every word that both of you said, but there were some points where if you had asked me to repeat it, and that's generally not like me. So I think there's some big something that I did that I need that is swirling around. I don't even know how to say that. That's just feels different. I won't even say odd. It's just different. Something. It's not a confusion. I don't feel confused by anything. I've had conversations with the two of you where I feel confused. So, I don't have that going on, but I feel like there's some integrating, or maybe even some work that'll be done in the sleep time in regards to this one.
Well, and you can play with it too. Is you're creating energetic bubbles all over the place in reality. So step into one, and as if for the very first time it's right there happening, and then play with those kinds of things.
Right. Well, and that is probably the best we could say for anyone, I feel like, at this point, is to just develop a habit of play, of all sorts too, with yourself, with playing with just all sorts of things, asking questions, stepping outside of whatever you might not have ever done this kind of thing before. I mean, honestly, a lot of what Lisa was sharing in regards to the actual purse had to do with play. On not just her level, but my level as well. I was just playing, and I played right into that entire scenario with Lisa. We were co-creating, and neither one of us really knew it.
Right.
Knew it. Okay.
Right.
And that is another thing that made it really so very delicious. So, and you just never know. Just go with what you feel to go with. Because that's exactly what happened with that. So, wow. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I want to say, if you have not subscribed to BZ Rieger's channel or Conscious Conversation Central, please do so. Make sure to hit the notification bell. If you are watching this on BZ's channel and not on mine, then yeah, go subscribe to the other's channel. Yeah. And let's see, what else? Anything else? I don't know. Oh, I would love to hear comments. I would love to hear questions. Say what, BZ?
I said go play.
Play
Yes.
with noticing.
Yeah. Go play.
Write in the comments, what kinds of things you've been playing with.
Yeah, what you're playing with and what your results are. Yeah, and if you don't want to do it in the comments, then reach out, either, private message, email, whatever.
And if you're borrowing a Sheila refrain, I got nothing, play with that. Because there's always stuff there, and you really will surprise yourself.
Yes.
Or Sheila's other refrain, I just go straight to the fantastical. Well, hey, go play with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. I'm telling you. I enjoy the hell out of that myself.
Exactly.
Okay, so till next time. Mwah.
Much love.